kilometers away from Moscow. It was in a small forest village named after a disgusting mushroom. The village's mayoral elections only had one candidate, but the real heated race was for the title of the village drunk. There were two primary schools of thought: the market-friendly connoisseurs of store-purchased vodka versus the more communal and traditional moonshiners. This, of course, is a metaphor for the country's transition from communism towards the market economy in the 90s. When I was 13 years old, I had a great summer there, playing PlayStation games and Pokemon trading cards with other boys my age. I got back there the next year, eager to show off my sick new Charizard card, only to find all of my friends smoking the world's smelliest cigarettes, hanging out with girls all the time, and having completely betrayed our shared dream of becoming the best there ever was Pokemon fame. You can see what's happened here. Over that year, all the other boys went through puberty. Well, I'm a bit of a late bloomer, so my puberty still hasn't happened to this day. But fingers crossed that 2025 will finally be the year when I can grow a full beard or have any definition to my chin. On top of my friends and the girls, there was now a 22-year-old man by the name of Max hanging out with us. And I know what you're thinking. And it is suspicious that an older man would hang out with pubescent teenagers. But let me dispel these allegations. To the best of my knowledge, he did not fuck any children. He did fist fight most of us at one point or another. He had this party trick, for which there is an actual medical term, where he would get so drunk that he would start hallucinating that he's surrounded by enemies and needs to fight his way out. Due to my lack of experience, I assumed it to be standard protocol during alcohol consumption. Let me also give you a visual descriptor for this man. Do you guys remember that magic potion from Shrek 2 that turned you into a hunk?
Yeah.
If you can imagine that same potion but laced with fentanyl, I think you would get pretty close to what he looked like. While we're on the subject of Shrek, or as it's known in my household, thanks to my grandmother, Shrek, could you guys quickly tell me what the first movie is actually about? Any suggestions?
Love. Onions.
That's great. That's actually very close, but the real answer is Shrek is about the plight of the Russian woman. And let me prove it to you. Russian women are famous worldwide for being visually appealing and very capable. And for whatever reason, Russian men don't share that same reputation. In the movie, Fiona is one such woman, capable and beautiful, and she's forced by her father, the king, who is an obvious symbol for the patriarchy, to choose between marrying an ugly, antisocial ogre who lives in the swamp, this symbolizes Russian men, versus being with Lord Farquaad, who is a short, psychopathic tyrant who lives in a luxurious castle. I'm going to let you connect the dots. Back to the story, let's quickly meet the rest of the crew. There was also my childhood buddy, who I befriended at the age of 3 when he hit me in the head with a stick. He was now 14 years old, and he was deeply interested in the Rastafarian faith. There was also the Goblin, and I'm sorry for introducing a second mythical creature so quickly after a fentanyl Shrek. However, that is the only image that I have of him in my mind. Finally, there was also my crush, who was female, and I think when they introduced us, she gave me like a friendly kiss on the cheek, and needless to say, that was the farthest I've ever gotten with a woman. So I fell for her hard. Most evenings we would hang out at a bonfire in the forest, drinking cheap vodka to support the markets. I had a scientific interest in whether there was an amount of alcohol high enough for me to stop being a coward and talk to my crush. Unfortunately, that hypothesis was refuted by an embarrassingly large base of evidence. We also did other fun things like sing campfire songs, debate the tenets of Rastafarianism, or run away from Max if he was having another episode. One night we went deeper through the woods to a battlefield from World War II. We were searching for ghosts of dead fascists. But it was 19 years ago, so we were too early, and all the fascists in Russia were still alive. Most of them are still doing great. We were surprised to find that all the clothes that we left at the bonfire were now a part of the bonfire and burning up pretty well. It's time for you guys to meet the antagonist of this story. We will be calling him Zach, and he was the person who owned a lot of land that was closest to the entrance to the forest, and therefore the bonfire. I'm sure it was very annoying to have drunk teenagers yell things in the night near your house, but burning our clothes wasn't an obvious first move. To understand his motivation, let's dig a little bit deeper into his background. You guys know this thing that some rich people do where they spend their, let's say, their summers in the Netherlands and their winters in Taiwan.
Hey.
He was doing that, but was being inside and outside of prison. He would go there for doing crime, chill there for a little bit, pop out for some more crime, rinse and repeat. After the arson, he went away the next day, which opened up the conflict for further escalation. The next night, me, Rasta, and the Goblin were escorting drunken Max home from the bonfire. And we were concerned that he might do something violent, so we were pinging him from 3 different sides. As we were passing Zach's house, one of the pins suddenly let loose, and I saw the Goblin dash into his garden, push over a tree, and pop that tree into a well. It was at this point that Max finally saw an outlet for his rage that wasn't a small child. So he joined in on the fun and started tearing out the wooden walls of the house. Me and Rasta were pacifists, so we didn't join, but we were also cowards, so we didn't try to stop it and just went home. Zach was gone for a while after that, long enough for us to stop worrying about repercussions of any kind. One night, a kid that left the bonfire early comes running back. Zach is back, and he called the cops on us. Imagine how surprised the cops must have been when he called them. They must have assumed it was a punch card situation where if they catch him 6 times in a row, 7th time he turns himself in for free. Anyway, they were able to overcome their differences, and this is actually another famous trope from cinema where there is a temporary alliance between bad guys, in this case the criminal, and other bad guys, in this case Russian cops. The law arrives and they announce their presence in the forest via these awesome-looking long-range flashlights. We use their complete lack of an element of surprise and the fact that the forest has more than one entrance. Because we are also morons, we keep hanging out at a different location, and at one point a police car rides up to us, and I'll be honest, this next part still doesn't quite make sense to me, because while it is true that Russian cops are stupider than dog shit, I cannot imagine why they would believe me drunkenly telling them that we have no idea what this is about, and just drive away. This failure brought the end to the flimsy alliance between cops and criminals, and Zach was forced to take justice into his own hands. The next night, me and my crush were sneaking out of the bonfire around midnight. The lights were out in his house, and I was much more focused on her, so I didn't notice him until he was right next to me. When I saw him, he had a large wooden bat in his right hand and a knife in his left hand. He got me with the bat pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And then, luckily, Mrs. Shrek was able to hold him back from using the knife, and we were able to escape. This near-death experience had a profound effect on me. And I have learned that I should never trust law enforcement, and it's unsafe to ever leave the perimeter of a city. Thanks, everyone.